Three things I'm going to talk about. First of all, social utility, how and where do we get it? Second of all, principally, is this something we're allowed to do? Third of all, how this affects the clone himself and his life. Most of the rebuttal will be integrated. Just 2 points I want to flag out right now. First of all, we find it very interesting that closing opposition choose to talk about motivation, but provide no sort of reply to Gustaf's analysis about motivation, about the fact that the current incentive systems that we have do not actually create the motivation for geniuses specifically, for those extraordinary individuals. This is going to be extensively discussed in my first clash. Second of all, one more thing is that they talk about about why achievements are a common thing. We don't think that's a relevant thing in this debate, because first of all, we can duplicate a lot of the very extraordinary people. Now, if there are several people that we know have been part of a certain cooperation, we can clone all of them. But moreover, if there is one really genius person who also relied on the work of other people, then other people will also be there, and he can coordinate and contact with them. Let's talk about social utility, because opening government started out by telling us that great people are like, if we clone them, are likely to do great things once again. Because also that we get more knowledge about genetic material and the way we can use it to benefit society. Now we get a few challenges to that from opposition. First of all, they tell us that from opening opposition that we have very specific things that shape our character, and therefore these people will not actually be the same. They tell us that the times are not actually going to be the same, are not similar or equivalent. Opening opposition also talk, closing opposition also talk about a lot of other reasons why these people might not succeed to the extent we expect. Note, two things here. First of all, some of them obviously will. When you have another Picasso, as we mentioned in POI, he is likely to still paint very well. When you have another Einstein, he is still likely to be highly intelligent, so at least we get some utility, obviously, from this mechanism. But no, and this is a fine thing, because what we bring to you doesn't necessitate at all that the clones actually succeed. All we are saying to you is that the current system of incentives that we have does not the current system that we have for bringing people to contribute to society is money. We think it is generally a good system. However, it fails specifically in extraordinary people. Why is that? Because when you are a genius, your achievements are quantum leaps, as was already mentioned by opening government. When they are quantum leaps, we often get the cases, as Gustaf mentioned, like Alan Turing, like Van Gogh, like people who are so ahead of their times, Nikola Tesla, that their work is simply not recognized. That their work is so unrecognized that they would actually not profit anything from it. And to the extent that we want our social mechanisms in order to provide for more geniuses, in order to provide for more people to work in these things, and not, for example, enter a bank, enter high-tech, enter anything that will give them a good job, a nice life. We're saying that this is that we have to give them a different sort of incentive. Why is the incentive we're giving them here so strong? First of all, we say it's just a much more powerful incentive than any else, because as Sela tells us, people view clones, no matter what they are, people view clones as the person himself. So we're actually telling a person, we will give you eternal life. This is what people strive for their entire lives. This is the strongest motivation we can possibly give anyone. But moreover, we say that here specifically, you are not only offering that, you're offering something that can be done after death. When I am recognized as a genius in 100 years, in 200 years, people can still take my genetic material and give me this new life. This is something that only happens under this mechanism, and this is something that brings all the people who currently have no incentive to actually drive forward their genius, their individual genius, in order to do these wonderful things. Before I go on, I'll take opening.
Failing to become the sole reason for your existence is an order of magnitude worse than not getting vacation days on holidays. We don't do that, and for less advantages, we don't want to do this.
Excellent. First of all, note that we gave you a chance to engage with our incentive point, which you didn't. Now let's get to the part about the principle, to the principled case, which is basically addressing exactly this issue. Because basically, just to sum up this, what we have brought to you is a specific advantage for this mechanism that actually passes all the rebuttals of the oppositions to why these people will not succeed, because we're saying the geniuses themselves, the original genius, the one who is in the right time frame, is the one who is going to make the significant achievement that we want. Now let's talk about the principle, because here we get two things basically coming out from OO. First of all, it tells us we create classes in society. This is basically eugenics, this is racism. We say two things to this. First of all, since there are relatively few so extraordinary people that they are being cloned. We don't actually see different classes in society being formed as a result of this. We don't think that's a likely scenario. But moreover, we say the problem with racism is the fact that we perceive people in a way that they are not. Meaning the fact that we perceive, for example, all African Americans as ants. The problem is that it does not represent all of them. It would not be racist to claim, for example, that professors are more intelligent than the average person in the population. We don't think that's racist because it actually refers to a relevant characteristic. Therefore, we don't think this is racist either. Because if you have people that are actually more intelligent, saying that they're actually more intelligent does not actually qualify any sort of racism. And then they tell us, but we use people as means to an end. No. This relies on the extent to which it's terrible to be one of those clones, which I'm going to address right now. But no, that if we show you that it's not actually that bad to be one of those clones, that it's actually not that different from any other sort of life, then this argument falls as well. So let's talk about that right now, what the effect on the clone. Yes, James?
Okay, so these clones aren't the same as the person, right? You don't get eternal life, they're just a different person. We also have other things like Nobel Prizes and statues. Lastly,
thank you.
Not recognize the life.
Thank you, James. Please sit down. Okay, first of all, Sela maintained that people perceive them to be the same. Second of all, we say that they're having your own body, someone with exactly your material, reliving, is the closest thing we can get to eternal life. It's that if I want to bring children in order to relive my life through them, and I see my heritage continue through them, obviously a person who is exactly me, going around and fulfilling other things, is something that's hugely valuable for me, much more valuable than any other incentives. Let's talk about the effect on the clone. So basically we get two things. First of all, the notion that people expect a lot of. So we say to that, first of all is the notion that I was born to serve a certain purpose. We say that's not actually that different from if I have, for example, a very demanding parent who wants me to live up to their dreams. We're saying he will be a teenager, he will rebel, he will be able to reclaim his own identity. Note, he will be specifically designed to do that because the stuff tells you he is extraordinary. What he will create will be beautiful. Even if it's not Einstein, he will be able, through his unique achievements, to form a place for himself. He's actually much better off than the average person being born into our society. We don't actually see why the fact that he's born for this way, or that he has these expectations, makes him a tool for an end, and not just a regular person with some social advantages. For all these reasons, we are proud to propose.